On our wedding night, my movie star husband Bruno ditched me to meet his ex-girlfriend. When he came back, reeking of alcohol, he hugged me while calling out Zoe's name. The next day, Zoe posted on Weibo, "Some love can only be hidden between lips and teeth, buried in time. I wish you happiness." Fans immediately flooded the comments, cursing me as the homewrecker. My manager was on the verge of a meltdown. Meanwhile, I scrolled through my phone lazily and said softly, "What's the rush? Just leak their bed photos from last night. Say that I, the legitimate wife, caught them red-handed. Remember, blur the pictures. But make sure Bruno's watch on his wrist is still recognizable." Chapter 1. The photos went online for just 10 minutes before Weibo's servers crashed. Hashtag Bruno cheats on wedding night. Hashtag Zoe the homewrecker. Hashtag Selena catches them in the act. 3 hashtags instantly shot to the top of trending. My agent Roxana's phone nearly exploded. She pressed the receiver to her ear. Pale as a sheet. "Selena, Bruno's team, and his mother, they're all calling." I nodded lightly, gesturing for her to go on. "They want you to post a clarification right away. Say the photos were from a drama shoot, or a friendly gathering after too many drinks. A misunderstanding of camera angles." I chuckled. Clarify? And why would I do that? I am Bruno's lawful wife. On my wedding night, my husband abandoned me to sneak off with his ex, and I should help cover for their little tryst. Roxana, do I look like some brainless saint? Before she could reply, the door slammed open. Bruno barged in, eyes bloodshot, reeking of alcohol. His fist clenched so tight the veins on his hand bulged. "Selena, are you insane? Do you even realize what you've done?" He hurled his phone onto the coffee table. On the screen, my Weibo post. "Why would you do this? Zoe's innocent. She was just upset. I went to drink with her. That's all. Nothing happened between us." I lifted my gaze, calm and sharp. "Nothing happened? Then why was she wearing your shirt?" "Nothing happened? Then why did you hold me all night while whispering her name?" His face flushed red, like someone had cut off his air. He hadn't expected me to have heard every word. "I was drunk," he roared. "It was just a mistake, one any man could make. Do you have to blow it up like this? Ruin my career? Ruin Zoe? I never thought you were this vicious." I rose and stepped close to him. "Bruno, what you ruined was our marriage, yourself, and your precious Zoe. Vicious? Compared to the two of you, I'm practically merciful. And let me correct you. Not all men make this mistake. Only the ones who can't keep it in their pants. Don't drag the rest of mankind down with you." He trembled with rage, hand raised to strike. I didn't flinch. I just stared him down coldly. "Go ahead. Hit me. Tomorrow's top headline will be Best Actor Bruno Commits Domestic Violence. I guarantee it'll outshine your cheating scandal." His hand froze midair, then fell limply to his side. The phone rang again. This time, it was Monica, Bruno's mother, the chairwoman of Huayu Media. Her voice came through the line, lofty and commanding. "Selena, delete that post at once, then hold a press conference to apologize. Say it was all a misunderstanding. Our family name will not be dragged through the mud by you." I leaned back against the sofa, slowly filing my nails. "Monica, the disgrace isn't mine. It's your precious son's. On his wedding night, he pulled this stunt. The fact that I haven't filed for divorce yet is already me saving face for your family." There was a pause, then, forced calm. "What do you want? Resources? Money? Name your price, as long as you shut this down." I blew off the nail dust and smiled faintly. "I don't want anything. I only want justice." Monica sneered. "Justice? In this industry, whoever holds the power, that is justice. Selena, don't forget everything you have right now. You owe to us. Without my family, you're nothing. Stop with your naive little fantasies. I'll give you half an hour. If I don't see an apology on your Weibo by then, prepare to face the consequences." Chapter 2. The call ended abruptly. Roxana looked at me, panic written all over her face. "Selena." "Monica, she means it. All of our endorsements, the scripts we got, they're all tied to Huayu." I patted her hand calmly. "Don't be afraid. The sky isn't going to fall." Half an hour passed. I didn't post a single word on Weibo. Instead, Zoe's team released a photo of her lying on a hospital bed, tears streaming down her pale face. Caption: Thank you for your concern. Please don't blame anyone. It's all my fault. She wore a patient's gown, gauze around her wrist, fragile and pitiful, and just like that, public opinion flipped again. The hashtag Zoe suicide skyrocketed to #1. My Weibo comments section collapsed under the flood of abuse. Selena the witch, you drove her to this. Bruno, divorce her now. Marrying that woman was your biggest mistake. Stay strong, Zoe. We'll always stand by you. Bruno called again, his voice choked with anger and tears. Selena, Zoe tried to kill herself. If anything happens to her, I swear I'll never forgive you. Are you happy now? Are you proud of yourself? I listened quietly, waiting until his rage burned itself out. Then I spoke, soft and steady. Bruno, do you really think the entire world should revolve around you two star-crossed lovers? She cries, it must mean I bullied her. She goes to the hospital, it must mean I forced her. And me? I'm the lawful wife you both humiliated, and I deserve to be slandered and spat on? You should go stay at the hospital and tell her next time if she's going to stage a suicide scene, she'd better make the cuts deeper. Cat scratches won't fool netizens forever. That jab ignited Monica's fury. The next morning, the official Weibo of a major blockbuster announced my removal from the cast, due to personal misconduct and negative social influence. Then came the endorsements, one by one. The luxury brands cut ties. Roxana's hands shook as she held the termination letters. It's over, Selena. Monica is out to erase you completely. Overnight. I went from rising star to public enemy. Bruno texted me. This is what you wanted? I gave you a chance. Now get out of my house. My lawyer will send you the divorce papers. I stared at the message, then laughed. Get out. This villa's deed had my name on it, a wedding gift from my parents. I replied with one word. Leave. He must have lost his mind. Hours later, he stormed in with 2 bodyguards. Selena, don't push your luck. This house is mine. You don't deserve to stay here. I leaned lazily on the sofa, amused. Best actor. Did all those roles rot your brain? Open your eyes. Whose name is on the deed? This is my premarital property. Your family has nothing to do with it. Bruno froze, clearly unaware. Behind him, Zoe leaned weakly against the doorway, face pale with just the right amount of fragile grievance. Bruno, forget it. Let's go. If my sister doesn't want us here, we shouldn't make her upset. She tugged his sleeve softly, voice trembling like a dying butterfly, a perfect little white lotus. Bruno's eyes filled with tenderness as he looked at her, then turned to glare daggers at me. Selena, you'll pay for this. I'll make sure you're blacklisted from this entire industry. I rose, stepping toward them. Good. I'll be waiting. Chapter 3. My eyes slid past Bruno and landed on Zoe. Miss Zoe, next time you stage a suicide attempt, remember to bring a real medical report. Otherwise, forged records to gain sympathy will only make you a laughingstock. Zoe froze, her face turning even paler. Bruno instantly pulled her behind him, shouting furiously, Selena, shut up. Don't you dare hurt her again. The way he stood there, like her knight in shining armor, was laughable. Hurt her? I sneered. Bruno, the one who truly hurts her is you. You gave her hope she should never have had. You made her believe she could climb higher by stepping on me. Bruno, you are the root of all this tragedy. Huayu's blacklist hit like a thunderclap. All my projects were cancelled. My team was forced to disband. Only Roxana stayed by my side. Online, insults came crashing like waves. Extreme fans found my address, splashed paint at my door, even sent blood-stained blades in the mail. Roxana reported it to the police. But nothing changed. The mob came back wave after wave, like flies smelling blood. Meanwhile, Bruno and Zoe basked in the spotlight. At a charity gala, he held her hand in front of the cameras, gazing at her with feigned devotion. I'll settle my private matters soon and give Zoe the title she deserves. Thunderous applause followed. The internet worshipped their so-called true love. And me? I was painted as the vicious ex-wife, the villain standing in the way of their happiness. Then Monica called again, her tone dripping with the arrogance of a victor. Selena, do you regret it now? I told you, you're far too naive to fight me. Kneel. Publish a long apology. Admit everything was jealousy and slander, and maybe I'll let you live. I almost laughed. Monica, did you forget who my father is? Silence. My father, Nestor, though retired, still a titan in the business world. With a single word, he could reshuffle entire markets. My mother, one of the nation's most celebrated painters, admired by countless students. I was never the kind of parasitic flower who needed Bruno's family to survive. The only reason I hadn't used my family's influence was because I wanted to keep things clean, to leave some last shred of dignity for myself. And for Bruno. But clearly, they didn't need it. Monica's voice dropped, sharp and venomous. So you're still stubborn? Then don't blame me for being ruthless. Selena, I'll teach you what real despair means. When the line went dead, my father's voice came through another call, steady, calm, and unshakable. Selena, you've suffered enough. Do whatever you want. Remember, your father is your strongest shield. My eyes burned. The dam of tears I'd held back for days finally broke. Dad, I'll be fine. I wiped my face, steadied my breath, and dialed another number. Interested in a little business? A low, magnetic voice answered with a laugh. An invitation from Miss Selena? How could I refuse? Tell me, he drawled. How do you want to play this? Chapter 4. I looked out the window at the neighborhood, swarming with reporters and rabid fans. My eyes grew colder by the second. I want Bruno ruined, utterly disgraced. Luis, Bruno's sworn enemy and the powerful CEO of Starlight Media, agreed to meet me at a private members-only club. In person, he was even more striking than in photos. His tailored black suit fit perfectly against his tall, commanding frame. He slid a folder across the table. This is Starlight's top-tier contract. Along with it, a full PR team and a legal task force. Whatever you want, I can give it to you. His dark eyes locked onto mine. My only condition. He leaned back, voice steady. I want half of Huayu Media's market share. I laughed softly. Quite the appetite you have. Luis lifted his coffee cup, his gaze unwavering. To take down Bruno's family, nothing less than blood is required. Now, Miss Selena, show me your sincerity. From my bag, I placed a flash drive on the table and slid it toward him. Inside, you'll find Bruno's deepest secrets, tax evasion, on-set bullying, and certain private fetishes. Enough to drag him from the clouds into the gutter. Luis raised an eyebrow, visibly surprised. And how exactly did you get your hands on this? I shrugged. Back when Bruno trusted me, his phone was an open book. I just happened to have a habit of keeping useful backups. For the first time, his expression softened, tinged with admiration. Seems Bruno really was blind. Well then, he picked up the flash drive. Smirking, pleasure doing business. Our alliance was sealed. The first step, strike back. Luis's team moved with ruthless efficiency. That very night, an article titled "A Wife's Confession" exploded across the internet. Written in my voice, it recounted everything, from my first meeting with Bruno, to our marriage, and to his betrayal on our wedding night. There were no curses, no vicious insults, only calm, restrained words laced with unbearable sorrow and quiet despair. And at the end, attached was the recording of my call with Monica. Her imperious voice echoed, ordering me to kneel, to beg, to shoulder all the blame. Within 30 minutes, the internet turned upside down. WTF? Bruno's family is ruthless. Are they trying to crush Selena alive? My heart aches for her. Marriage into that so-called prestige is nothing but a hell pit. Bruno, scumbag. Monica, wicked mother-in-law. Zoe, fake saint. This entire family is rotten. I take it back. I wronged Selena. She deserves better. The tide had shifted completely. Bruno was in chaos. Monica so furious she smashed her favorite antique vase. When Bruno finally called me, the arrogance was gone, replaced by a thin thread of panic. Selena, what do you want? Must you drag us all down? Do you really want mutual destruction? The fish may die, I answered coldly, but the net will remain intact. Bruno, this is only the beginning. Huayu's PR team scrambled to claim the recording was fabricated, but Luis's people were already 10 steps ahead. They released an independent forensic report verifying its authenticity. Bruno was left defenseless. And then, piece by piece, the contents of that flash drive began to surface. Chapter 5. First came the evidence of Bruno's tax evasion. The tax authorities immediately launched an investigation. Once confirmed, he would not only have to pay back an astronomical sum in back taxes and penalties, but he also faced the very real prospect of prison time. Overnight, his entire commercial value evaporated. Then came the video of him bullying rookies on set. In the footage, Bruno was caught cursing a young actor mercilessly, even shoving him in front of the crew. The arrogant, domineering man in the video was a far cry from the refined gentleman image he had carefully crafted as the nation's best actor. Actors and crew members who had suffered under his tyranny suddenly found the courage to speak out. Each story worse than the last. Bruno's golden image collapsed in a single night. He became a disgraced celebrity, reviled across the internet. His once loyal fans abandoned him en masse, some even turning on him, shredding his reputation into pieces. And Zoe? She couldn't escape either. Her past lies, faking illnesses, playing the victim, stealing others' opportunities were dragged into the light. Even her supposed suicide attempt was exposed as a fraud. Anonymous hospital staff confirmed she had arrived in good spirits that night, laughing and joking with Bruno. Her wrist wound was little more than a shallow scratch, exaggerated for sympathy. Used to paint me as the villain, manipulative witch, fake saint, green tea coquette. The internet branded her with these titles, never to be removed. One by one, production houses and brands blacklisted her. Zoe's acting career was over, finished before it had truly begun. Bruno's empire crumbled. His family's media company saw its stock price plummet, hitting consecutive daily limits down. Investors dumped shares like wildfire, and panic spread through the boardroom. Monica was in shambles, no longer the arrogant matriarch who once looked down at me from her gilded throne. In desperation, she tried reaching out to my father, begging for mercy, but my father shut the door in her face. The business world is a battlefield. There is no pity for losers, only victory or destruction. Meanwhile, Luis's Starlight Media struck hard and fast, seizing market share from Huayu at lightning speed. Profits soared. Everything was unfolding precisely as I had planned. And then came the final straw, the one that broke the camel's back. Luis's team released one last video. The scene? My wedding suite. The time? My wedding night. The video showed Zoe, wearing Bruno's shirt, perched at the edge of the bed, eyes brimming with tears. Bruno, are you really going to be with her? You know you love me. Bruno sat beside her, face twisted in torment. Zoe, just give me a little more time. I only married her to appease my mother. Once I secure the inheritance, I'll divorce her and marry you. Zoe leaned against him, voice trembling with tears. But I can't wait any longer. Seeing you with her, it tears me apart. What do you want me to do? Bruno asked, hesitant. Zoe lifted her gaze, her eyes flashing with cunning. Let's stage a misunderstanding. Make her think something happened between us. She's too proud to accept such humiliation. She'll make a scene, and when your mother is thoroughly disappointed in her, we can finally be together. Bruno hesitated for only a moment, then nodded. Fine, whatever you say. The video cut to black. And just like that, the truth was out. From the very beginning, everything had been nothing more than a carefully orchestrated scheme. Chapter 6. The so-called wedding night affair. The so-called star-crossed lovers. It had all been a staged performance, designed to drive me into filing for divorce. I was the fool kept in the dark, the most innocent sacrifice in their carefully plotted scheme. The internet exploded. Outraged netizens were ready to tear Bruno and Zoe limb from limb. What the hell? My worldview is shattered. How can people be this disgusting? All this just to climb the social ladder? The lowest of the low dot. Selena's too pitiful, calculated against on her wedding night. This is beyond cruel. Bruno, get out of the industry. Zoe too. Bruno and Zoe became vermin in the streets, pelted with stones in every direction. They didn't dare go out, didn't dare log online. They cowered in their apartment, two frightened birds with clipped wings. But what they owed me was far from paid. Bruno's tax evasion was eventually confirmed. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison and fined billions. His family, forced to cover the deficit, sold off most of their assets. Huayu Media was fully acquired by Luis's Starlight Media. The once unshakable Monica turned overnight into a haggard old woman. She knelt at my doorstep, sobbing, begging me to spare Bruno, to spare her family. I looked at her coldly through the door. Monica, when you forced me back then, did you ever imagine this day would come? Heaven's justice always comes full circle. You reap what you sow. I ordered security to escort her away. As for Zoe, her ending was even more tragic. After being blacklisted, she lost every source of income. To survive, she sang in dim little bars until someone she had once offended recognized her and humiliated her on stage. Later, I heard she fell into debt with loan sharks. They broke her legs, and she vanished into the abyss of the crowd. And I, with Luis's backing, my career soared to dazzling heights. I starred in a film directed by an internationally renowned auteur. My performance won me the Best Actress award at Cannes. At the ceremony, I wore a stunning red gown, standing radiant beneath the world spotlight. Luis sat below the stage, his eyes full of tenderness and open admiration. My divorce with Bruno went through smoothly. He left with nothing. I reclaimed everything that was mine. The day we signed the papers, his gaze was complicated. Selena. I regret it. I smiled. Too bad. There are no regret pills in this world. Bruno. May prison reform you into a better man. I turned and walked away, without a shred of hesitation. I visited him once in prison. He wore the dull uniform, his head shaved, his spirit hollow. No trace remained of the polished best actor he once was. Behind the glass, his bloodshot eyes locked on me. His voice rasped. Broken. Why? Selena. You once loved me, didn't you? How can you be this cruel? I looked at him calmly. Yes, I once loved you. I loved the Bruno who explained scripts with patience, who handed me medicine quietly when I was sick, who clumsily comforted me when I cried on set. But that Bruno died. He died on our wedding night. When you and Zoe plotted against me, what's left is nothing but a selfish, weak, and foolish stranger. And tell me, why should I pity a stranger? Bruno's body shook violently. He buried his face in his hands, sobbing like a wounded beast. I watched him quietly for a moment, then stood. I only came today to tell you, I'm getting married. He froze, his head snapping up, disbelief flooding his face. I lifted my hand, the diamond on my ring finger glittering under the prison lights. It's Luis. He's good, better than you, by 1,000, by 10,000 times. Bruno, thank you for not marrying me properly back then. Otherwise, I would never have met the right man. With that, I turned and left. I never looked back. Chapter 7. Behind me, in the visiting room, came his guttural, heart-wrenching cries. But none of that had anything to do with me anymore. I stepped out of the prison. The sunlight was warm and dazzling. Luis's car was parked not far away. He leaned casually against the door, holding a bouquet of sunflowers. The moment he saw me, he strode forward, slipped the flowers into my arms, and wrapped me in a strong embrace. It's all over, he whispered into my ear. I hugged him back, pressing my face against his warm chest, and nodded. It's all over. Our wedding was held on a sunlit island by the sea. There were no reporters, no flashing cameras, only family and our closest friends. My father walked me down the aisle, his eyes glistening with tears as he placed my hand into Luis's. My daughter, she's yours now. Luis bowed his head with solemnity. Dad, don't worry. I will spend my life loving her, protecting her. We exchanged rings. Under the priest's blessing, we swore vows that would last a lifetime. Sunshine, sand, waves, and the kiss of the man I loved. Everything was so beautiful. It felt like a dream. Married life was simple, but full of joy. Luis spoiled me like a princess. He never forgot our anniversaries. He cooked with his own hands. He watched silly dramas with me. When I came home exhausted, he massaged my shoulders until I smiled again. He even transferred half of Starlight Media's shares into my name. What's mine is yours, he said. There's no division between us. I teased. Aren't you afraid one day I'll run away with your money? He chuckled, tapping my nose. Then I'll just earn more, enough to make sure you could never run far. A year later, I gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. Luis instantly became both a doting father and an obedient servant, spinning around the babies with no trace of his CEO aura left. Occasionally, I caught news of Bruno. He had been released, but the industry had abandoned him. No one would hire him. Few even remembered his name. I heard he'd gone to a small city, where he opened a humble noodle shop, scraping by. Once, when Luis and I traveled with the children, we happened to pass through that city. By coincidence, our car slowed outside his shop. He must have felt something, for he looked up. Our eyes met. He froze, the ladle in his hand clattering onto the floor. Luis slowed the car. Do you want to see him? Behind us, our children's laughter rang bright as bells, fighting over a piece of cake. That was my world now, new, radiant, warm. I shook my head. No, just passing by. The car picked up speed again, merging into traffic. But 5 minutes later, I changed my mind. Stop the car. Luis pulled over smoothly. He unbuckled, looking at me. I'll go with you. No need. I opened the door. Stay with the kids. I'll be back soon. Chapter 8. I walked alone, against the flow of people, back down that street. The noodle shop was small, the tables were greasy, and the walls were lined with yellowing menus. Behind the curtain of the kitchen, Bruno stood in a faded t-shirt, bent over a pot, cooking noodles for a customer. He had gained weight, looked haggard, wrinkles carved deep lines around his eyes, and his back had a faint stoop. I found a corner seat. He came out carrying a bowl of noodles, and the moment he saw me, his hand shook, spilling broth onto the floor. After setting the bowl on a customer's table, he hurried toward me. On his face, shock, shame, and a fleeting glimmer of something else. Selena, you, 1 bowl of house noodles. I cut him off, my gaze fixed calmly on the stained menu on the wall. He froze, the color draining from his face. The other diners began to glance between us. His lips moved, but no words came. In the end, he turned and disappeared into the kitchen. Soon, a steaming bowl of noodles was slammed down in front of me. He sat opposite me, eyes bloodshot, staring as if to devour me whole. You came here to laugh at me, didn't you? I picked up the chopsticks, lifted 1 strand of noodles, but did not eat. Are you doing well? He rasped. I gave no answer. He suddenly laughed, a hollow laugh uglier than crying. I get it. You must be doing great. Married to Luis, crowned best actress, admired by everyone. So you came today to gloat, to remind me of how much of a failure I've become, right? His voice rose, shaking, pulling curious looks from nearby tables. I laid down the chopsticks, took out a bill, and pressed it beneath the bowl. The noodles are on me. I stood to leave. He lunged, seizing my wrist with frightening strength. Selena, don't go. Tell me, was there ever, even for 1 moment, did you regret it? The madness and desperate pleading in his eyes made my skin crawl. I wrenched my hand free. Bruno. I met his gaze, word by word. My only regret is ever meeting you. His body crumpled. As if the strength had been ripped out of him, he collapsed back into the chair. I turned, walking out of that suffocating shop without looking back. Outside, sunlight poured down. Luis's car waited at the corner. I slid inside. In the back seat, our twins were fast asleep, peaceful smiles on their little faces. Luis asked nothing. He only started the car and took my chilled hand into his warm, dry palm. I leaned back, watching the street recede in the window. The noodle shop, the man, quickly shrank into the distance, until it was gone. Soft music played in the car. The road home stretched ahead, clear and open. My phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Wish you happiness. I smiled faintly, passed the phone to Luis. He glanced at it, blocked the number, and deleted the text without hesitation. He laced our fingers together, firm and steady. Wife, don't bother with trash like that. It only dirties your eyes. I smiled, nestling into his embrace. Sunlight streamed through the windows, warm and soothing. Yes, my life no longer needed blessings from irrelevant people, because I already had the greatest happiness in the world.